All right, buckle up, everybody, because we are diving headfirst into the wild world of ReZero fan theories.
Ooh, yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
You know, whether you've already been sucked into Subaru's time loop struggles or you're just stepping into this world of isekai madness for the first time,
Yeah,
we are going to explore some ideas today that might just completely flip your understanding of this anime.
totally. And that's what makes ReZero so fantastic, right? I
Eh?
mean, even like the smallest details, like you can find a throwaway line in like episode 3,
Right.
and it can spark these huge, elaborate theories. It's like the author is playing 4D chess with the audience.
Oh, absolutely. And we have got a mountain of sources here: articles, Reddit threads, forum discussions, even some academic papers, believe it or not, all dedicated to cracking the ReZero code.
Wow, academic papers, huh? That's serious dedication.
Oh, yeah, people are taking this stuff seriously. And today, we're focusing on a few key areas: Satella, the Witch of Envy, Subaru's Return by Death, which, just saying that out loud, is kind of chilling, the mysterious witch cult, and of course, the big question mark hanging over Subaru and Emilia's relationship. Where's that all going?
So much to unpack. And honestly, some of these theories we're looking at are so mind-blowing, they could like redefine the entire ReZero experience.
All right, so where do we even begin with a show this dense with mysteries? I guess the logical place to start is with the character who seems to be at the heart of it all, Satella, the Witch of Envy.
Right, she's the big bad, right?
Yep.
The ultimate evil.
Right.
But so many fans, they just don't buy the whole pure evil thing. They think there's more to her story.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah, the classic "is she really evil?" question. But with Satella, it's not just a trope.
Right.
The theories about her motives, they go deep.
Be deep.
Like, one that I find particularly intriguing is that she might actually be trying to protect Subaru in some twisted way, even if it means using him as a pawn.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what if
tough.
there's an even greater threat out there, something we haven't even seen yet, and she's manipulating Subaru to fight it?
That just flips the whole villain narrative on its head, doesn't it? Kind of reminds me of, like, Snape from Harry Potter, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Seems like a bad guy, but ultimately acting for some greater good, maybe?
It's a solid analogy. You got Snape, you got Satella, both shrouded in mystery, do some pretty messed up stuff. But then, as the story unfolds, you start to question everything. Are they really villains? Or are they just playing a different game with different rules?
Yeah, and those are some heavy questions that, honestly, ReZero doesn't give us easy answers to. But we can't forget that Satella isn't the only powerful female figure with a connection to Subaru. We've got Emilia, too, and some of the theories about their connection, man, they get pretty wild.
Yeah, like the whole two sides of the same coin theory.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, you can't deny the physical resemblance. And then there's the whole thing with the witch factor of envy, which basically, for those who haven't delved that deep into the lore, it's like a source of magical power, each one linked to a specific witch and her personality.
All right.
And both Satella and Emilia have a connection to that same witch factor. And then there's all the recurring imagery of duality in the show. It's like the author is screaming at us, pay attention to this.
So are we saying Emilia could be a reincarnation of Satella? Or maybe they're connected in some, like, mystical, cosmic way we just don't understand yet?
It's a possibility.
Hmm.
And if so, what does that mean for Subaru?
Right.
He's in love with Emilia, but he's also got this bond, this weird messed up bond with Satella.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. And this actually brings us to another major theory surrounding Return by Death. Some fans believe that Subaru's ability to rewind time upon death, which, again, let me just emphasize, comes with a huge psychological cost each time.
Oh, yeah, big time.
They think it's directly tied to this whole Satella-Emilia connection.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just a random power-up. It's like a key piece of this puzzle, right?
Right. This intricate web that's connecting these two powerful women and their influence on Subaru. It's almost like he's being pulled in two different directions.
Exactly. And that leads us to another super popular theory that Return by Death is a test of sorts, orchestrated by Satella.
So she's not just watching him suffer.
Maybe not. Maybe she's evaluating him, seeing what he's made of. Can he overcome all this adversity? Can he achieve whatever goal she has in mind? Is he worthy of her?
Whoa, that's pretty dark, even for ReZero. But wouldn't that make Satella just incredibly cruel?
It would definitely add a layer of complexity to her character. But hey, remember, we're talking about the Witch of Envy here, a sin that's all about possessiveness and control. Maybe To her, Subaru's suffering is just like a necessary evil.
A small price to pay for the power he wields.
Exactly. A small price to pay.
You know, it's giving me some serious Greek myth vibes, like Subaru is the tragic hero, chosen by this powerful but flawed goddess, destined for greatness, but also doomed to suffer. It's like Sisyphus pushing that boulder uphill, but instead of a boulder, it's the weight of all those deaths.
Ooh, I love that comparison. And if we follow that line of thinking, it leads to another big question. Is Subaru really in control of Return by Death? Or is he just a puppet dancing to Satella's tune?
Right, right. Is he really in control? And you know, there's another theory out there that throws a whole other wrench into this return by death situation. It suggests that Subaru isn't just reliving the same events over and over. He's trapped in a time loop.
Whoa. Okay, so like Groundhog Day, but with like way more stabbing.
Way more stabbing, much higher stakes.
Way higher stakes, yeah.
Right. And that's where it gets really trippy. Because if he's stuck in this cosmic Groundhog Day, he's got to achieve a specific goal to break free, right? Every action, every decision takes on this whole other level of significance.
It's like playing a video game with infinite lives, but each death just tears you apart a little bit more inside.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if Return by Death even has limits.
Ooh, good question.
Right. Could Subaru lose this ability? What would happen then? I mean, that's terrifying to think about.
That's a whole other rabbit hole, right? Some theories suggest that the more he relies on Return by Death, the greater the risk of some unforeseen consequence. Like maybe there's a cosmic price to pay for messing with time.
Okay, so we've talked about Satella, the Witch of Envy, her potentially twisted motives, and her connection to both Subaru and Emilia. We've dug into the theories surrounding Return by Death. Is it a gift, a curse, a test, a key to breaking a time loop? Who knows?
Right.
But there's another major player in this ReZero saga that we need to address, the witch cult.
Yeah, those guys. They're the shadowy organization behind, like, so much chaos in this world. Are they just fanatics worshiping a long-dead witch? Or is there something deeper, something more sinister going on?
That's a good question, and one that I think is going to lead us down some very dark paths.
I'm ready for it.
Let's get into it.
You know, what's really interesting about the witch cult is that, like, it's not just a faceless mob of bad guys. They've got individual members with, like, their own backstories and motivations and quirks, you know?
Oh, yeah, and the theories about their individual connections to the witches, to Satella, to Subaru, I mean, it gets really intricate.
Super intricate. And honestly, even the characters who seem kind of like side players, like you start digging into the fan theories and you realize, oh, wow, they could be hiding some serious secrets.
Yeah, like Rom, for example. She's fierce, she's loyal, and she's incredibly powerful, especially considering she doesn't have a horn like her twin sister Rem.
Yeah, that's always bugged me. Like, where'd she get all that power from? And that's led some fans to speculate that maybe, just maybe, she's got a deeper history with the witch cult than we've been led to believe.
Okay, so like a former member, maybe. Or she underwent some kind of training or experiment at their hands. I mean, it would definitely explain her amazing fighting skills.
Right, and don't forget, we still know next to nothing about her past. It's like this giant blank slate just begging for theories.
Right, right. But why would someone like Rom, who seems so independent, ever get involved with the witch cult? I mean, they're pretty much, as far as we know, the bad guys, right?
Well, yeah, on the surface, for sure. But remember, the witch cult is devoted to Satella. And as we've already discussed, she might not be the straightforward villain she appears to be. What if the witch cult's goal is something way more complicated than just chaos and destruction? Something tied to Satella's, supposedly greater purpose.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So maybe Rom isn't a true believer, but more like a reluctant participant. Like she's forced into their ranks for reasons we haven't seen yet.
Exactly. Or maybe she sees something in Satella that others don't. Like maybe she genuinely believes Satella's got good intentions, even if her methods are, shall we say, a little extreme.
Maybe she sees a glimmer of hope in all that darkness.
Right. It's definitely fun to speculate about those possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
In this whole line of thinking, it leads us to another character with potential ties to the witch cult, Ram's master, Roswell.
Oh yeah, Roswell. He's always creeped me out a little.
He's a tricky one, that's for sure. We know he's got some connection to the witches, and his actions, they're often pretty hard to decipher.
Understatement of the century.
Right. What if he's playing a much bigger game? One that involves, like, manipulating both the good guys and the bad guys to get what he wants.
Man, this whole thing is starting to feel like a giant chess game, and we're all just pawns.
A very dangerous chess game. And speaking of locations that are shrouded in mystery, let's shift our focus to the sanctuary.
Yeah, the sanctuary, the place where Emilia was raised, it's clearly more than just a physical location. There's something mystical, almost mythical about it, right?
Definitely. It's a safe haven, but it's also a place of secrets, and is deeply tied to the witches and their power. And of course, the fan theories about the sanctuary, oh man, they go deep.
Lay some of those theories on me.
Okay, one theory suggests that the sanctuary is actually a testing ground of sorts. A place where those with the potential to inherit the Witch of Envy's power are, like, evaluated.
So it's not just about bloodlines or who's related to who, it's about proving your worth, facing your inner demons.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a spiritual crucible designed to weed out the unworthy and prepare the chosen successor for their destiny, whatever that destiny might be.
So, did Amelia pass this test? Did she choose this destiny, or was it, like, thrust upon her? It makes you wonder if the sanctuary is actually more of a prison than a safe haven.
Right, like maybe that's why she's so determined to break free from all the expectations people placed on her. And her relationship with Subaru, who's all about defying fate and forging his own path, that could be the key to her liberation.
Together, they can rewrite the rules of the game.
Exactly. They can create a new path, one free from the shadows of the witches and their legacy. But before we get too carried away with all this romantic destiny stuff, let's get real for a second.
Right, back to reality.
Yeah, back to reality. We've covered a lot of theories, but one theme that keeps popping up is this idea of fate versus free will. It's like Subaru is constantly trying to break free from a predetermined path.
But the more he struggles, the more entangled he becomes.
Right, it's like a classic paradox. And it's not just Subaru who's wrestling with this. Emilia, with her connection to the Witch of Envy and her upbringing in the sanctuary, she's also caught in this web of fate. Even the witch cult, with their whole devotion to Satella, you could argue that they're just pawns in a bigger game.
So are you saying that nobody in ReZero has free will? That everyone is just playing out their roles in some grand cosmic play?
I wouldn't go that far. ReZero doesn't give us easy answers, and that's part of its appeal. The struggle between fate and free will, it's something we all grapple with in real life, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
We make choices, we make decisions, and we wonder, are we really in control of our own lives? ReZero just takes that struggle and cranks it up to 11.
So even though there's this overarching sense of fate, there's still room for individual agency, for characters to make choices that defy expectations and maybe even change the course of events.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really exciting. Because if free will does exist in this world, then even the smallest actions can have huge consequences.
Oh, yeah.
It means that Subaru, despite all his flaws and his tendency to, like, really mess things up,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
he has the power to change things. He can break the cycle of tragedy and create a new path for himself and those he cares about.
I like that perspective. Gives me a little hope even in the face of all this darkness and despair that ReZero throws at us.
Me too, me too. But hey, let's not forget ReZero loves to throw curveballs at its audience.
Right.
There's always a chance things won't end well for our heroes.
Speaking of endings, what do our sources have to say about how this whole saga might wrap up? Will Subaru and Emilia finally get their happily ever after? Will the witch cult succeed in their mysterious plans? Will the world be plunged into chaos? Or will some kind of new era of peace and prosperity emerge from the ashes?
So many questions. And honestly, the theories about the ending are all over the map.
Okay, well, hit me with some of the juiciest ones.
Well, one theory suggests that the ending will be bittersweet. Like Subaru, despite all his efforts, he might not be able to achieve a perfect outcome. He might have to make some really tough choices, choices that leave him and those he loves with some serious scars.
A victory, but at a cost. Sounds about right for ReZero.
Doesn't it? And then there's the question of Emilia's fate. Will she embrace her destiny as the potential successor to the Witch of Envy?
Or will she forge her own path, break free from all those expectations?
It's the million-dollar question. Some believe she'll ultimately embrace her power, become a wise and just ruler. Others think she'll reject that destiny, choose a quiet life with Subaru, far away from all the danger and intrigue. And then there are those who believe she'll end up making a different kind of sacrifice, giving up her own happiness for the greater good.
It's like we're talking about different versions of the same character.
Yeah, it's almost as if her fate is fluid, constantly shifting based on the choices she makes and the influences around her.
And that's what makes ReZero so brilliant. It keeps us guessing, keeps us invested, and forces us to confront our own beliefs about destiny, free will, and the power of choice.
Okay, but Amidst all these theories about Satella and the witch cult and this whole fate versus free will thing, there's this one element of ReZero that we haven't really touched on yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big one, literally. I'm talking about the white whale.
Yes, the white whale. That terrifying fog-spewing behemoth, a classic symbol of, like, the overwhelming destructive forces in the world.
Right. I mean, it just embodies chaos and fear.
Totally. But you know what's really cool? A lot of fan theories go way deeper than just saying it as a monster. Some connect it to the witches, or even to Subaru's own internal struggles, like his inner demons.
Hold on. The white whale as a symbol of Subaru's inner demons? How does that work?
Well, think about the fog, right? Fog obscures things. It makes you feel lost, disoriented, uncertain. And throughout the series, Subaru's constantly battling his own doubts and fears, not to mention the trauma from all those deaths and rewinds.
Right. So it's not a huge leap to see the white whale as embodying those negative emotions, like a physical manifestation of the darkness he carries inside.
So it's not just an external threat, but also a reflection of his internal struggle.
Exactly. It adds a whole other layer to those battles, right? It's not just about physical strength or strategy, but also about confronting those inner demons and overcoming the psychological toll of return by death.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But, you know, ReZero wouldn't be ReZero without some truly mind-bending theories. What else is out there about the white whale? Any connections to the bigger mysteries of the series?
Well, there's one theory that ties the white whale directly to Satella.
To Satella.
Yeah. Some fans believe that the creature isn't just some random monster, but a vessel, or maybe even a prison, for a fragment of her power.
Okay, now we're getting into some serious speculation.
Right.
But it's not totally out there, right? We've already talked about Satella's connection to Subaru and this whole world being really deep and complex. Maybe the white whale is another piece of that puzzle, like a physical manifestation of her influence that's terrorizing the land.
Right. And if you combine that with the theory that the witch cult is trying to free Satella, things get even more interesting. Maybe they need to release that fragment of her power that's trapped in the white whale to, like, fully break her free.
So defeating the white whale isn't just about saving lives and protecting the kingdom. It's about stopping the witch cult and preventing Satella's return. Talk about high stakes.
It really reframes those battles, doesn't it?
Big time.
Suddenly, they're not just about survival, but about the fate of the entire world.
You know, it's amazing how everything in ReZero seems to be connected somehow.
It really is. Every character, every event, even the smallest detail could be a clue.
A clue to what's really going on, to the ultimate truth behind this whole crazy world.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it so much fun to analyze and theorize about.
You know, we've spent this whole deep dive exploring some pretty wild fan theories about ReZero, Satella's true motives, the nature of return by death, the witch cult's agenda. We even talked about the symbolism of a giant fog-spewing whale.
We did go deep, didn't we?
Deep, deep, deep. It's a lot to process, even for someone who's been following the series closely.
Absolutely. But that's what makes ReZero so captivating, right? It rewards you for paying attention, for thinking critically, for coming up with your own interpretations.
And that's where you, our listeners, come in. We shared our thoughts, but now we want to hear from you. What are your theories about ReZero? What details have stood out to you? What connections have you made? Head over to our website or social media pages and let us know. You might just be the one to crack the code.
Because in the end, the joy of engaging with a story like ReZero isn't just about finding answers. It's about the journey of exploration. It's about piecing together the clues, coming up with your own interpretations, and embracing the mystery.
And that's what we love about doing these deep dives. It's not about saying, here's the right way to understand this. It's about creating a space for discussion, for shared insights, and for a collective appreciation of how complex and layered this story is.
It's about building a community of passionate fans who are all eager to dive deeper into the worlds that fascinate them.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into ReZero fan theories, we encourage you to keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep sharing your thoughts. Because in a series this intricate and thought-provoking, there's always something new to discover.
Maybe the answers we're looking for are right in front of us, just waiting for someone to connect the dots and illuminate the truth.
That's all for today's deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another exciting journey into the stories that inspire us, intrigue us, and keep us coming back